Annotation scaling is a great feature that will have AutoCAD automatically scale your model space text to a certain predefined size or a paper height, no matter what the scale of your viewport or drawing is. Let's open up our annotation.dwg file and we'll take a look and see how this works. Now, without this setting, any text that we put in model space will always be that same size. So it'll scale up and down with the line work, as line work should. When we change the scale from maybe say 1 to 40 scale to a 1 to 100 scale, the text will keep getting smaller the greater the scale is, or it'll keep getting bigger the more you zoom in. Well, you don't really need that or want that even. You want your text to be a certain height. Usually it's about 1/8 of an inch. So let's draw some text. I'm going to draw an M text, and I'm just going to put it right here in this room. I'm going to type in something simple. This is a room. You can see here it's really, really tiny. If I select it, right now I see that it's at 1/8 inch in height. Now that's the height you want it to look on paper, but obviously according to this, you can't even see it. So if I go to one of my text sizes here, this scale is 1/8 inch equals a foot inside this viewport. 1/8 inch equals a foot. We can't even see the text in there. It's just way too tiny. So if I select the text, let's make it bigger. I'm going to make it a full inch in height, but let's make it 8 inches. This is a room. So now we can see it. So if we come here, we can definitely see it in our view. Okay, that's a lot better. But what happens if we change the view or the scale of this viewport? So I'm going to unlock the viewport and I'm going to change the scale to 1/4 inch equals a foot. So we zoom in and the text keeps getting bigger. The more we zoom in, the bigger the text gets. And that's not what we need. We want it to stay the same height, just like our dimensions are here, that just happen to be in paper space. So typically you're not going to want to do that, but that's the way this drawing's set up. So if we go back to model space and we type in the word style, S-T-Y-L-E, or just S-T, this is where you control the styles for your text. We see here we have an annotative text style, but I'm just going to switch with notes since it's current. We can make it annotative. We click this box here to do that, and we set the paper text height right here. So regardless of what scale the drawing is, it will always display in paper space as 1/8 of an inch. Click apply, select current, click close. So now let's make sure this text here is set to our notes style. And since we first set it up, I'm just going to leave it the way it is. I'm going to copy it, put it down here, select the text, and I'm going to make it annotative right here. Select yes. And one thing you have to do with annotative text is make sure you have the scales added to it. That way it'll know to display it at that size. So I'm going to add 1/8 of an inch scale. Click OK. Now when we come here, we can't see the text. That's because this isn't at 1/8 of an inch scale. So if I select inside the viewport, I activate it, and I come down here to my scale settings, and I select 1/8 of an inch, I'm going to get this. Well, I've gotten this great big giant text here because this is still set at a paper text height of 8 inches. I don't want it to be 8 inches. I want it to be 1/8 of an inch. So I'm going to make that adjustment. And here it is. So now I have this text and it's right here at 1/8 of an inch. So when I set my view to 1/8 of an inch to a foot, it becomes the right size. Now, if I add to this by selecting the text, going to my properties palette, and clicking on the annotative scale, I click this box and I click add. Now let's say I want it to be 1/4 inch of a foot. I can do that. Click OK. Unselect the text, go to my viewport, and when I change the scale of my viewport to 1/4 of an inch, you notice the text zoomed down to its size. This one keeps staying the same. This one keeps going to the appropriate size. That's what annotative text will do. Now you can make your text annotative, your multi-leaders, hatch patterns, and even dimensions. That way they'll always be in the right place and they'll always scale up and down regardless of what scale you'll use.